on this evening? Again, my name is Michael D. McCarty. My motto and website is have mouth, we'll run it. I get to do what I love to do for a living. So let me tell you how that came to be. In 1992, I was at CAGE, the Conference on Alternatives in Jewish Education. How I got there, that's another story. But here I am at CAGE, and I am introduced to this guy named Joel Ben Izzy, who is introduced to me as a professional storyteller. I said, "You do what? People pay you to tell stories? How you do that?" Because I've been telling stories all my life, according to my mother, as long as I could talk. So I picked his brain. And he was very forthcoming, giving me all kinds of advice. There was a storytelling concert that day, and I said, I'm going to do this. And my motto was going to be, have mouth, we'll run it. Came to me in a flash of inspiration. The following week, I asked myself, what would I do as a profession if I was independently wealthy? I said, I'd tell stories. I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I went to Office Depot and got some business cards. Michael D. McCarty, storyteller, have mouth, we'll run it. And I'm giving my friends cards. Now, this was the time when the Bodie Tree bookstore was still open. And I was such a regular there, a lot of the employees thought I used to work there. So I went by there and I'm giving my friends business cards. I'm a professional storyteller. Give me some money, I'll tell you a story. And I gave my cards to a bunch of my friends. 4 of those friends gave me key pieces of information. Now, remember that key pieces of information in case I forget, because that happens. How many of you are familiar with Goethe and his thing, commitment? Let me hear a round of oh yeah. Oh yeah. For those of you who don't know, Goethe, this German philosopher, had this statement called commitment. Look it up, you'll love it. And it says essentially this: once you make a commitment to something, all kinds of help and assistance will come to you from places you could never have imagined. Woo! You know you're right. So I gave all these friends at the Bodie Tree these business cards. One of them tells me, you know, Michael, there's a storytelling magazine. There's a national storytelling organization. I got that magazine, and I joined that organization. I would eventually end up on the board of directors of that organization. Another one said, well, you know, there's a local storytelling group. In fact, there's a couple of them. Hooked me up with that. I joined all the local storytelling groups in the area. Another one said, you know, Cultural Affairs Department, they hire storytellers. I'm going to pass your business card on to them. They hired me. I got paid. And another friend said, you know, there's a concert coming on, a storytelling concert. It's a benefit for the Aquarian bookstore, which had gotten burned down during the 92 riots. And this storyteller, Leslie Perry, had put together a concert of 12 African and African-American storytellers. I went there, met them, and 5 or 6 of those storytellers and I would eventually form a collective. So I'm doing all this. Now, I'm also married at this point in my life. And I told my wife I was going to be a professional storyteller. And she said, oh, that's really wonderful. And she left. I found out later through a friend of hers said she thought you had lost your damn mind. Truth of the matter is that happened a long time ago. And she bailed on me, which was a good thing, but that too is another story. So here she is gone. I'm trying to make my way as a storyteller. And there are times when I thought that maybe she was right. Maybe I had lost my damn mind. I go to a funeral of a friend here in LA. After the funeral, there are people gathered, and I'm the kind of person, if I make eye contact with you, I speak to you. I see this guy standing on the other side of the room. I make eye contact. I thought, we have a mutual friend. Let me introduce myself. As I'm walking towards him, he says, what's your name? I said, Michael McCarty. He said, you're from Chicago. I said, yeah. He said, you went to St. Finbar, the elementary school that I'd gone to that had been torn down millennia ago. He'd gone to the same school. When he was in 8th grade, and I had just gotten kicked out of high school for leading a walkout, but that too is another story. I got a bunch of them. His 8th grade teacher, who had been my 8th grade teacher, had asked me to come to talk to their class about what was going on because I was very involved in the civil rights movement and the Black Power movement. And I went and told stories. He proceeds to tell me how the stories that I told him that day had affected his life and the life of several of his classmates. And how, as a teacher here in Southern California, he taught his students lessons based on the stories that I told him that day. I figured I was in the right place. So my friend had given me all these connections with people, so I started going to these storytelling groups, and like I said, I held out those cards, and one of my friends said to me, my school hires storytellers. How much do you charge? I said, let me get back to you on that. Because I didn't have a clue. So I went to one of those local storytelling groups. I told a particularly wonderful story that night. That's the way I roll. And afterwards, this storyteller, Karen Golden, comes up to me and says, Michael, that was a wonderful story you told. I know you're trying to do this as a profession and you're just getting started. I've been doing it for a while. If you need some help, like how you find work, how much you should charge, give me a call. I called her up one day. She spent 4 to 6 hours with me. We started out at Nyala's over in Little Ethiopia, which was great because she introduced me to Little Ethiopia and Ethiopian food. And she went over everything with me. And then, just like Gutta had said, it was happening. Things were all falling into place. Now, 1991, I'm at Orion's vegetarian restaurant. Used to be right on Vine, just off of Sunset. My ex-wife and I were there, and she asked Orion how he had gotten into the restaurant business after finding out he had gone to school to be an architect. He said he had read something in this book, What Color is Your Parachute? You should make a list of 10 things that you like to do on a day-to-day basis and then see how you can make a living doing some combination of those 10 things. And I said, Orion, that's a great idea. Give me a piece of paper. And I had made out a list. And what did I put on that list? I like to tell stories. I like to travel. I like to read. I like to write. I like to make people laugh. A couple of years after becoming a professional storyteller, I ran across that list. And almost everything on that list I do as a storyteller. One of the things on the list was being with that ex-wife. Scratch that up. And now, as mentioned, I have been to over 30 countries. People call me up and say, would you come to our country and tell stories? We'll take care of all of your expenses and pay you your fee. I'm there. Dream come true city. Now, I'm the baby in my family. And when I say I'm the baby in the family, I'm seriously the baby. It's 14, 20, 25 years between me and my siblings, all right? So I'm always the one doing crazy stuff. So when I told my sister that I was a storyteller, she said, yeah, okay. There's my baby brother doing something wild and crazy again. But in 2004, I received an award from the National Storytelling Network. And that year, the conference was just outside of Chicago, my hometown. And my daughter, my sister, and some of my friends came to the ceremony. And my sister looked around and said, these people seem to have sense. And apparently they think my brother does something good. And she has been proud of me ever since. Now, in addition to traveling the world, I work with all kinds of folks. Right now, I'm working in prisons, teaching storytelling to prisoners, and it's having an amazing impact. And this is my life. Confucius say, if your job is something you love, you never work a day in your life. And that's the end of that.